The last piece of pie, the smell of cinnamon and sugar drifted through the small-town diner. Kate, wrapping the place in comfort like a warm blanket. It was a chilly November evening, the kind where frost clung to the windows and people huddled, sighed for coffee refills and slices of something sweet. At the corner booth sat Henry, a retired schoolteacher, his silver hair catching the glow of the neon sign outside. He wasn't there for company. He wasn't there for conversation. He came every Thursday night for one reason: a slice of the diner's famous apple pie. The pie was more than dessert to him. It was tradition. For years, he and his late wife, Margaret, had shared that very slice after long days. It was their little ritual: one fork, one plate, one piece of pie split right down the middle. Even now, years after she passed, Henry carried on the tradition alone. That evening, as the waitress Jenny approached with a tired smile, Henry cleared his throat. The usual: "Please, a slice of apple pie if there's any left." Jenny hesitated. "Oh, Henry, we only have one slice left tonight." And she glanced over her shoulder. Another customer already asked for it. Henry's heart sank. He looked toward the counter and saw a young boy, maybe 10 years old, sitting on a stool with his feet dangling. The boy clutched a crumpled dollar bill in his hand, staring longingly at the dessert case where the last piece of pie sat proudly on display. Jenny bit her lip. "I don't know what to do." You both ordered it at the same time. Henry followed her gaze back to the boy. The kid looked thin, his jacket too small for the cold, his sneakers worn down at the soles. Something about the way he stared at that pie, like it was more than food, like it was hope itself, hit Henry right in the chest. For a moment, Henry felt the sting of disappointment. That pie meant connection to his wife, two memories that kept him company in his quiet home. But then he remembered Margaret's words. She used to say, "Kindness costs us nothing, Henry, but it can mean everything to someone else." Henry cleared his throat. "Give it to the boy," he said softly. Jenny blinked. "Are you sure?" He nodded, managing a small smile. "I've had my fair share of pie." "Looks like he hasn't." The waitress walked to the counter and gently placed a plate in front of the boy. His eyes widened and his whole face lit up. He looked around, then spotted Henry watching from the booth. The boy slid off the stool, carrying the plate carefully with both hands, and walked over. "Mister," he said shyly, "was this supposed to be yours?" Henry chuckled. "It was, but I think it belongs to you tonight." The boy hesitated, then pushed the plate toward Henry. "We can share." Henry's throat tightened. He hadn't expected that. Slowly, he slid over in the booth. "All right then, but you take the first bite." The boy grinned and climbed into the seat. For the next few minutes, the two shared the pie just like Henry and Margaret used to. The boy told him his name was Eli, that his mom worked late shifts at the hospital, and sometimes he came to the diner with $1 she gave him for dinner. "Usually it's just fries," Eli admitted, "but tonight I wanted something sweet." Henry listened, nodding, his heart swelling at the boy's openness. For the first time in years, the booth didn't feel so empty. When the last crumb was gone, Eli leaned back with a satisfied sigh. "That was the best pie I ever had." Henry smiled, blinking away a tear. "It was one of the best for me too." Jenny brought the check, but Henry slid a 20 across the table before Eli could pull out his dollar bill. "This one's on me." Eli frowned. "But my mom gave me money." "Keep it," Henry said gently. "Buy her something sweet when she comes home. Everyone deserves a piece of pie once in a while." Eli's eyes sparkled, and he tucked the dollar carefully back into his pocket. "Thanks, mister. You're really nice." Henry watched as the boy left, his little figure disappearing into the night. Then he sat quietly for a while, staring at the empty plate. It didn't feel like a loss. It felt like Margaret was sitting right there beside him, smiling her approval. Weeks passed, and Henry kept coming back to the diner. But things were different now. Sometimes Eli would be there too, waiting for his mom, and the two would share stories, fries, or pie when they could get it. One evening, Eli's mom finally came to meet Henry. She was exhausted, but kind, her gratitude shining through her tired eyes. "Eli talks about you all the time," she said. "He calls you his pie buddy." Henry laughed, feeling a warmth he hadn't felt in years. He'd lost a lot when Margaret passed, but in sharing that last piece of pie, he'd found something against connection, purpose, and the reminder that even small gestures can ripple into big changes. From then on, Henry never ate pie alone, and every time he lifted his fork, he heard Margaret's words echo in his heart. Kindness costs us nothing, but it can mean everything. Moral of the story: the smallest sacrifices often create the greatest connections. Sharing what we love, even when it costs us something, can turn loneliness into friendship and strangers into family.